Well, hello, everybody out there in M3 world. I am so excited today. We're going to talk a little more Texas Aggie baseball today, and we've got a member of the 93-94 Texas A&M baseball team that in 93 went to the College World Series, Chesson. Jason, welcome aboard, man.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, I have to tell you, I'm a little bit older than you, but I sure remember this team so very well, all the great things that happened. And tell us a little bit about your background and how you ended up on the A&M squad working with Mark Johnson.
Well, so I was kind of like any other hopeful athlete in high school. I wrote letters, and I guess nowadays you do a YouTube video or Twitter or something. But I wrote letters, and my dad was an Aggie. My brother, is a year older, was an Aggie, and I'd kind of had a invited walk-on type deal to Blinn and Brenham, and that didn't work out. And I went to Concordia Lutheran for 3 semesters, and it had happened. I had pitched a game against Baylor, and we had won that game. And I believe the coach prior to Johnson, oh gosh, I can't think of his name. You probably know it. I can't. That street's named after him. Anyway, it was there, and he had asked me where I wanted to go to school, and I said, "Well, I'm going A&M. I'm gonna graduate with an ag degree, so I'm gonna walk on or what have you." And so when I got there to walk on, there were 400 or 500 different kids trying out, and after that session, I'd come there as a shortstop. I didn't really want to pitch, and but I was about a week later they had me a locker. Now it didn't have my nameplate on it, but it had it in masking tape with written in marker.
So, little temporary, huh? Just in case.
Yeah, it was very temporary, and I kept that in the front of my mind. And actually, what's funny is my father had some business dealings in College Station, and one of the guys he had worked with was a member of the Dugout Club. And the easy way to pronounce my name is Chesson. But the normal pronunciation is Chesson, and so he was used to my name being called Chesson. So at the Dugout Club, he asked Coach Johnson. He said, "Well, what do you think about your new player, Jason Chesson?" And he said, "Well, we don't have a Jason Chesson." Well, his dad said he made the team, so it was kind of funny.
That's awesome.
My father had called and he said, "Hey, if you didn't make the team, it's no big deal." And I was like, "Well, what do you mean? What, did you hear something I didn't?" So that was and Coach Johnson had come up a couple days later, and he's like, "Is there any way, a different way to pronounce your name?" I said, "Hey, you call me whatever you want to call me. I'm good."
Oh, that is so great. I just love it. I can see Mark Johnson saying that. That's why it's so funny to me. That's just awesome. Well, that's really cool. I tell you, you came to the team at the right time. You guys had one heck of a ball club, didn't you?
It was, I don't think anybody really knew when you looked around and you saw all these guys, and even the freshmen that had, that were there most of them had turned down some lucrative signing bonuses to play at A&M, and you're around all these guys, and I'm like, "Hey, no one offered me nothing. How much did they offer you?" And you turned it down. And so it was just, the biggest thing really was we were all friends. And it made for, we were a very cohesive unit pretty well. Everyone got along, and we were a true team. And I really think that's why we did as well as we did.
Well, it was so much fun. I remember that season so well because you guys came out and really kind of lit the world on fire. If I remember correct, didn't Granger have like an unbelievable strikeout game against somebody out in Lubbock?
So let me tell you, I was a part of that game, and the second most famous person in that game is on your call right now.
Really?
Yeah. So Brian Parker had been closing, and Brian had a game or two, and he had lost the lead for Granger, and Granger had said, "Hey, you're gonna, for on a Tuesday game, you're gonna be the next guy in. You're gonna be the closer." So I'm in the bullpen since the second inning of that entire game, and they would not let me come back to the dugout. And I'm like, you know what? This is history. Like.
Sure. And were you out there by yourself? Because I mean, Granger was.
Yeah, well, I mean, we had a catcher, over there, and we're over there talking about our test the next day or whatever. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to watch this from the dugout. And they're like, yeah, we're But it was always if one guy gets, because it was a Tuesday game, it's Lubbock Christian. It was a Tuesday game, and there is a picture, and I'm looking for it, but they've got the scoreboard with, Granger in the picture, and it's got the however many strikeouts. And I'm told in the corner you can see me in the bullpen, and I was really, but I still have guys that give me a hard time about that. They're like, not everyone got to see the good game, and you got to see it from the bullpen.
Well, I have
but
to.
Yeah, that was.
Everybody that's listening has to understand so they know. So that game was on April 2nd of 93, and Jeff Granger came in and set the A&M record for 20, and Granger just totally ruined it for you.
He killed my entire career.
Well, the funny thing about that season, I think it was like the next week, didn't Kelly Wunsch come in and have a big game too?
Yeah, both of those guys, and really, people. There was an article, and I never saved it, but it was about how many guys on that team that were pitchers that never got to play that would be the starter at another D1 school because of the lineup of pitchers we had.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
It was ridiculous, and someone had asked me this weekend, had asked me this weekend about the Penn game that A&M had, I guess we dropped 2 out of 3. And,
right.
And I remember we had a winning streak that year, and we were playing University of Maine Black Bears. And I mean, that I don't think it ever crossed anybody's mind that we were going to lose to Maine, right? I mean, it was still snowing up there. I think it was their spring break. And they had one pitcher that this guy just, and he had shaved his head. And he would, when the inning was over, he would sprint to the dugout, take his hat off, and they'd rub his bald head. And it was bright white. And I don't know if we got 3 hits that game. And that ended our win streak. But all it takes is one pitcher. I mean, these guys look forward to an A&M game or another big D1 game all year. Right, so they're going to throw their best at it.
That's exactly right. In fact, last week, A&M played Lamar, and the kids they threw out there on the mound, everybody hears Lamar, but, the kid that actually started against them was a JUCO All-American last year at Tyler Junior College and was phenomenal. I mean, he had under a 2 ERA, and the kid's phenomenal. And you don't think those kids from Lamar weren't up for A&M? Are you kidding me? They were going to put the best they've ever done all year out there on the field because they want to knock off the Aggies. So I totally get what you're talking about. That's what happens when you're one of the big programs, man. Everybody's going to lay low for you and come out swinging.
Yeah, and that was, I remember that. I was telling somebody what they're talking about, well, what happened against Penn? I'm like, hey, man, those guys have been, ever since the schedule came out, they've been gunning for A&M, probably since August. So, it's tough to be on top, and it's even tougher to stay on top.
So I just was looking it up. Kelly Wunsch had 14 Ks against Tech, and Tech was ranked like number 11 or something like that. And that put A&M, we became number 1 in the country after that game. And so Aggies were rolling. But I do have to fast forward a little bit. A lot of people that follow college baseball, they may follow the Aggies kind of on more of a casual way. But anybody that follows college baseball knows that it's all about Omaha. And you guys had the privilege of going and playing Omaha at the old Johnny Rosenblatt Stadium. Give me some impressions on that. What do you remember great about that? Uh-oh, I think I've just lost him for a second. Well, he'll be back in a minute. So this 1993 team was pretty phenomenal. They made it to the Southwest Conference tournament and actually got upended. Here he is. Oh, hold on for a second. He's coming back in.
Okay.
There you are. You're back. There you are. Anyway, I was just telling him a little bit about what's that, Jason?
I said you cut off when you said tell us a little bit about Omaha.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I was just telling everybody why you dropped off. I was telling them that this team was so phenomenal, but we actually got kind of upended a little bit in the Southwest Conference tournament and lost. I guess we lost to Texas, then beat Tech, and then lost to Texas again.
Right. Yeah, that was I mean that was a tough, nobody ever wants to lose to the orange and white when you wear the maroon.
And
And
that's the truth.
that again, even being recruited in Texas, you either got recruited, most people got recruited by both, UT and A&M. And so there was a rivalry there regardless of who you selected. It just was. And those were that was tough.
Well, it certainly was, but it actually probably lit a fire on the team to do what you did in the tournament.
Yeah, well, and we had, I think you had mentioned Lamar. I think Lamar was in that tournament. And we were fortunate enough to be able to host that regional. And, we never thought, we didn't realize that, like, hey, we win this regional, we go to Omaha.
Absolutely.
And I think now they've got the super regional. And what was funny is I didn't grow up, poor, but I remember coach saying, in the Southwest Conference, we never had to take an airplane anywhere. And so I'd never been on an airplane. And he said, hey guys,
wow,
there's going to be the 40 man or the 30, I think it was a 40 man going to Omaha. And, no, I think it was a lot less than that. Anyway, he said, we're going to post it, and you got to make sure you've got a collared shirt. And I remember calling my mother, and I said, you know what? I don't think I have a collared shirt.
Oh, my gosh.
And she's like, oh my gosh, y'all are going to fly on an airplane? Have you ever flown on an airplane? So it was big time for this kid.
Absolutely. So what was it like? So you fly into Omaha, and you go to the legendary Rosenblatt Stadium. Tell me all about that experience.
Well, it was funny because our shortstop at the time was Robert Harris, and they were telling us, we're meeting all these people with Fox Sports and ESPN, and they're telling us, hey, you're going to be mic'd up, and the bases are going to be mic'd up, and at the time, the movie Major League had just come out,
right.
And on these long bus trips, we'd watch a movie, and Major League was one of those movies, and I think it was Major League, or it was no, it wasn't Major League, but it was the guy Bull Durham, and where the pitcher would call everybody meat, come on meat, or Crash Davis would call him meat. Anyway, we play our first game is against KU, and Robert Harris is on second base as a runner, and he's telling them, come on meat, and when we got back to the hotel, the games were delayed an hour or 2 hours. So we were watching it. When we get back to the hotel, we'd watch it from the beginning. And all we could hear was Robert Harris calling everybody meat. And, the announcers are.
Oh, looks like we got a tough cell service a little bit here. I apologize to everyone for that. Hopefully he'll pop right back on. So this team in the College World Series, they won Game 1 against Kansas, and then proceeded to lose to LSU and then Long Beach State. The Dirtbags knocked out this team, and man, they had such good promise. I mean, they were certainly favored to do better. So it was a tough time. It was a phenomenal team, and I can't wait to hear kind of Jason's perspective on some of the experience, because the old Johnny Rosenblatt Stadium is no longer. They replaced it in 2011 with the TD Ameritrade that's now called Charles Schwab, but very different. Oh, here he is. He's back. There you are.
I parked. I don't know why I keep.
No worries.
But
so
yeah, it was a different.
Tell us a little bit about Rosenblatt. I got to hear about Rosenblatt. That was a great place.
It was just one of those things. You kind of, as a kid growing up, you'd watch the College World Series, and it was always the Wichita State, and I mean, you'd see all these guys and you'd mimic their swings, and when you got to Rosenblatt, I mean, it was we were there a day or two early, and we walked around, and we just everybody knew that it was kind of funny because Jeff Granger had just, I think June 1st or 2nd was the draft, and he had just been drafted by the Omaha Royals. Okay, Rosenblatt Stadium was where the Omaha Triple A Royals played. And so we went to a game that night, the first College World Series game, and we had to sit together, and so everybody knew the Aggies were there, and I happened to be sitting next to Jeff Granger. And, Jeff was our quarterback, and so he was used to all the limelight, and he told me, hey, Jason, if anybody comes up wanting an autograph, you're Jeff Granger. And I said, hey, I can deal with that. And so these girls had come that were on the welcoming committee for the Omaha Royals, and they're like, hey, we want you to sign some baseballs. And then all these other – and Jeff said, no, that's me. That's me. Pulled out his wallet and showed his ID. And so I didn't even get 15 minutes. But, I mean, it was everything you hear about it, and the fans that go out. I mean, that's a – annual thing for them. That's what everybody looks forward to. The weather's nice, it's warm during the day, cool at night. It's just a great atmosphere for baseball, for the kids, the adults. It was just a heck of a venue.
I tell everybody, I mean, Rosenblatt was as much fun outside the stadium as it was inside the stadium. It was just amazing. The number of people that are out there tailgating. And I mean, the whole town rolls out the red carpet for everyone. And it was just special because you kind of go through the neighborhoods to get to Rosenblatt, and just a neat experience. And it's still neat now. Obviously, the new stadium is downtown, so it's a little bit different atmosphere. It's still got a great, uniqueness about it. But I tell people all the time, I've been to pretty much every major NCAA championship, and it's still by far my favorite.
Well, that evening after the first day, we had gotten with A&M and LSU had a joint dinner, and we were seeing those guys, out and around the ballpark, and that's such and such. We were still rivals, and Todd Walker, of all people, had stood up and given his testimony.
Wow!
And it was the game that we ended up, the last game, the game that we ended up losing. Todd Walker hit the grand slam to win the game, but it was just, I mean, you're walking down the street, 1,000 miles from home, and you see these LSU people, and you see these Oklahoma State people, and you see people you've played ball with, and their parents, and it was just, you really didn't want it to end. Great atmosphere.
It's 2 weeks of just baseball heaven. That really, truly is. And I encourage anybody that has kids to make the trip up there. Even if the A&M's not playing, you try to get up there. I've tried to make every College World Series that they've in attendance, but it's just a great experience. So I do have to ask you, I know you're a busy man, but I do have to ask, the A&M program right now, we've got Nate Yeske in, who's one of the top pitching coaches in the country, that is now working with, we got 15 new pitchers on the roster, and they obviously are still trying to figure out what they have. The starting rotation looks pretty good, but that bullpen is still kind of working its way through. Give me your kind of concept, being a guy that was coming out of the bullpen and kind of working. I mean, what is your perspective on kind of what A&M is working on right now?
Well, I just think, every coach, be it baseball, be it football, what have you, has their way that they like the pitchers to throw or the batters to hit, and it's tough. I mean, when I got there, they completely broke me down. Coach Lawler, and he said, you have to throw this way. And I think, just like with any new coaching staff, I think they've got to take those kids and get them under, in their program. And that's tough. I mean, I think it's going to be tough. And, I know everyone hates hearing a building year and that kind of stuff, but, I don't think the coaching staff had a whole lot of time, to get their guys in there and to be able to work. I mean, look, we're all full-time students when we're playing, and so you just don't have a whole lot of time. You've got a couple hours a day on the ball field. That's it. And so, the first year, to me, there's a lot of repetition and a lot of, you're going to get a little, it's going to be worse before it gets better kind of thing. And hopefully they've gotten over that hump. But but I can appreciate a new coaching staff and all new faces, on the hill.
Well, I think that's a great perspective. I would agree with you. I think that there's an awful lot of talent on here, but it's a matter of trying to figure out what that talent does under fire. And they really haven't even been put under fire yet. We'll see what they can do in Frisco this weekend. But truth of the matter is, when you're a freshman and you're coming in pitching, pitching your first time at Olson Field is certainly an overwhelming experience for most. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. So tell us a little bit about what's going on with you and what all you're doing these days.
So, well, we've got we homeschool our kids, and we have got a Brazos Valley Christian organization that, there's more and more families homeschooling, and, these kids want to be able to play ball, football, baseball. And so me and a couple of the guys are actually coaching the Brazos Valley Mustangs, and we play local schools. Matter of fact, it's kind of funny. Trey Moore from the 93 team is actually coaching the Allen Academy Rams, right in Bryan, Texas. And I told him, I said, hey, look, we can this via Facebook. I told him, I said, look, we were buddies then, and we're buddies now, but there might be 9 innings or 7 innings where we're not going to be the best of buddies. But
crosstown rivals now.
That's right. And we've been offered. Matter of fact, Coach Lawler still lives in College Station, and the other day he and I were talking, and I said, Coach, we could use a little expertise every now and then. And he said, hey, maybe I can lend a hand.
Wow, there you go.
And Kevin Byrne was with the 94 team, and him and Kelly Wunsch actually played on the White Sox together. Kevin is under Tom House pitching over in Houston, and he's offered to kind of help. So, it's nice. I mean, we don't have a whole lot of money, to travel and to buy equipment and supplies. So it's nice when people lend a hand and help us out.
Not just any people, man, high quality.
Oh, I'm telling you. Yeah, right.
Of course, we don't say that about our crosstown rivals. Now we got to keep that.
No, absolutely not. No. But it's good. Like I said, the 93 team and the 94 team. When we'd have an alumni game, a lot of times in years past, if it wouldn't be for the 93 team, we wouldn't be able to play an alumni game, because it was 70-80% of the people who showed up, and that's just because I think that's important, and we still talk, when we can, every 60 days, 90 days via social media or what have you, but a tight-knit group.
So now the really important last question for you. So you got to critique Mark Johnson's job in the booth, man. You got to tell us what you think. Did you hear me? I think I lost him. No, I can't hear you. I think we've been muted somehow. Yeah, that's technology for you. See, I just think he didn't want to critique his old coach. That's what's going on here. Can you hear me, Jason? No, I can't hear you. I can see you, but I can't hear you. Oh, well. Well, we gave it our best shot. Oh, there you go. Now, can you hear me? Can you hear me now, Jason? No, I can see him, but I can't hear him. Well, anyway, Jason, I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. We can't talk, and we just lost him entirely there. But what a great chance to walk down memory lane and hear about the 93 Aggies, 94 Aggies that Jason played on. He's a multi-generation Aggie family. I believe his daughter is currently enrolled right now, and just a lot of great things going on. But it's what really makes A&M special. I love to hear the great stories and know that they all still talk today, and all the great things that goes on, because A&M's a special place. Oh, here's Jason. He's back. There you are. You're back. There you are. I was just saying, we can't leave the interview without you giving a critique of Mark Johnson in the booth, man. You got to tell us what you think.
Mark Johnson in the what? Say it again.
In the booth, doing all the analyst work now for all the college baseball games for the Aggies.
Oh, yeah. I just, every now and then, I think we all wish that, he would kind of mention one of us or something. And, but you know what? That guy has always, that's exactly how he is in the dugout. That's how he pull any punches, and what you see is what you get with Coach Johnson.
Well, it's a lot of fun. It has to be fun to look in there and see your old coach and see that he's doing well and continue to do that. But I love their perspective. I mean, Mark Johnson is a legend at A&M and went on, did some great things also at Sam Houston before he decided to get into this media business. But well, Jason, I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I know you've got family. So how many generations of your family now are Aggies?
Well, I guess it'd be the fourth generation.
Awesome.
And so I'm just going to tell you, you don't get any discounts if it's third or fourth. I do know that.
Well, I've got one that's a senior right now, and so I would agree with that wholeheartedly, my friend.
Yep. Hey, well, look, congrats on this platform, and I really enjoyed you having me on.
Well, Jason, it was my pleasure to have you. Thank you for sharing your time and memories with us, and we look forward to doing it again.
Yes, sir. God bless.
Have a great day. Take care, my friend.
All right.
And thank you all for all listening to us.
Thank
It's been a lot of fun. We've enjoyed it. And thank you for going down memory lane and talking to Jason Chesson. And Aggies kick off a 3-game series tonight at the Frisco Baseball Classic. It's going to be a lot of fun. So if you're in Dallas-Fort Worth, Metroplex right now, try to make a point of going out to the Rough Rider Stadium. If you can't catch all three, at least try to catch one of them. It'll be a great game. And I've got a feeling we're going to have a lot of maroon in those stands tonight. So thanks again for listening. You guys have a great weekend. This has been M3 Sports. We'll take care. Bye.